అందరికీ నమస్కారములు. నమో నమః. Today is another good day, and today is the third day of our series on the topic Darshnas. Today is the third day. Tomorrow we are going to have a new topic on Vimana Shastra. After that, we will have one lecture from our Krishna Murari Tripathi ji, which was left out, Darshnas on Monday. So today we'll let us start the session with reciting Vande Mataram and then Prarthana. Challa Chittibabu garu.
Vande Mataram, Vande Mataram, Sujala Sufala Malaya Jasitala Sasya Syamala Mataram Vande Mataram Subrajosna Pulakitayaminim Pullakusumita Drumadala Shobhinim Suhasinim Sumadhura Bhashinim Sukhadam Varadam Mataram Vande Mataram, Vande Mataram.
Vande Mataram. ధన్యవాదములండి. Now let us request Ramesh garu to chant Prarthana, please.
Sarvebhyo Namo Namaha. As usual, let's start with the meditation for a minute and then chant Omkara 3 times. Om Gananam Tva Ganapatikum Bhavamahe Kavim Kabiramapamasravastavam Jeshtarajam Brahmanam Brahmanaspada Anasunvan Nodebhisidasadanam Om Sri Mahaganadhipataye Namaha Om Prano Devi Saraswati Vajebhirvajinivati Dhinamavatir Yavatu Om Sri Mahasaraswatye Namaha Gurureva Gati Gurumeva Bhaje Guruneva Sahasmi Namo Gurave Na Guru Paramam Sisurasmi Guru Matirasti Guru Mam Pahi Guru Jnananandamayam Devam Nirmala Spadikakrutim Adharam Sarva Vidyanam Hayagriva Upasmahe श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पाद शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तो पुनः पुनः ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः असतो मा सद्गमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्योर्मा अमृतङ्गमय ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः मातृदेवो भव पितृदेवो भव आचार्यदेवो भव अतिथिदेवो भव ॐ सहना भवतु सहनो भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः
ధన్యవాదములండి రమేష్ గారు. థ్యాంక్ యూ సో మచ్. నౌ let us invite Prabhu garu to start the webinar, please.
ॐ नमो ब्रह्मादिभ्यो ब्रह्म विद्या संप्रदायकर्तृभ्यो वंशर्षिभ्यो महद्भ्यो नमो गुरुभ्यः सर्वोपप्लवरहितप्रज्ञानघनप्रत्यगर्भो सोऽहमस्मि ब्रह्मैवाहमस्मि. Friends, today is the last day of Darshnas. We will touch upon the Nyaya Darshana book called Nyaya Sutras of Gautama. It is written by one Satish Chandra Vidya Bhushana Nandalal Singh of Bengal. Bengal was the headquarters of Nyaya Darshana, continued into finally what is called Navya Nyaya logic, which is the later Nyaya. The first Nyaya Darshana was authored by Sutras of Nyaya Darshana authored by Gautama. Gautama or Gautama is all one and the same. So he was from Bihar, but he settled in later, much later in Andhra. It is estimated around 350 BC or earlier. And it's also known as Anvikshaki, microscopic vision. It's what means, and also known as Pramana Shastra, Hetu Shastra, Tarka Vidya, Tarka Shastra, Vadartha. And this same Gautama also had names like Akshapada and Dirghatapas. The word Gautama and Gautama point out to a particular Gotra, whereas Akshapada and Dirghatamas refer to his meditative habit and practice of long penance. If you look at the history of India, all the great rishis, whether it is Valmiki or even Akshapada, that is Gautama, they all were experts in higher yoga. They were in deep meditation, they were into samadhi, and they were able to see the past, present, and future. They had occult powers. That's why they were able to contribute so much. So even if you want to get into higher level of contribution, then you should have the occult power of deep meditation and samadhi. Only then it is possible. And in the history of thousands of years, This Nyaya Shastra has been referred in many locations. In the Brihadaranyaka, one of the white, that is Shukla Yajurveda, mentions a teacher named Gautama, while in Kathopanishad of Krishna Yajurveda, the Nachiketa who conversed with Yama is called Gautama. Therefore, it is a generic name. It is a Gotra name, like I am Bharadwaja. Bharadwaja, how many Bharadwajas will be there? In the Ramayana also, there is one Gautama, which is mentioned, who had a wife called Ahalya, and he lived in the outskirts of Mithila. We know that story. So, incidentally, Ahalya's Stotram, Ahalya's Stavam is very famous. It's very deeply philosophical about Rama. So, Ahalya's Stavam, I will quote. Normally, we think Rama was a human being, son of Dasharatha. Even Rama himself told that, Atmanam Manusham Manye Dasharathatmajam. But Ahalya recognized him as something else, supreme being. Aho Vichitram Tava Ramacheshtam Manushya Bhavena Vimohitam Jagat. What a wonder, O Rama! Everybody in this world are confused and deluded to believe that you are a human being. Tarasyavarjam Charana Sampurna Anando Atimayikaha Jagadam Adibhutastam Jagatvam Jagada Eko Vibhati Ramastam Maya Bahrupaya. You are the source of this universe. Jagadam Adibhutastam Jagatvam, and you are this universe. And Eko Vibhati Ramastam Maya Bahrupaya. Though you are only one, you are appearing as many. So the Upanishad Tattvajnanam was told by Ahalya, and only finally she prayed to him that he should remain in her heart all the time. So the husband of Ahalya was Gautama. Again, that's a family name. We don't know exactly which Gautama wrote these sutras. And in Vayu Purana, there is a name called Akshapada, who is supposed to be the same person who wrote these sutras. And in the region of Mithila, modern Darbhanga in North Bihar, they ascribe the Nyaya philosophy to Gautama, the husband of Ahalya, and point out as a place of the birth village called Gautama Sthana, which is very close to a town there, Chapra, Darbhanga, 28 miles northeast to Darbhanga. So Gautama, the son of Rahugana, so let us get into the subject matter itself. The subject matter deals with the proof, valid knowledge, how it can be acquired. There are 5 chapters, and there are many commentaries which came later. I'll just read out a few names. Nyaya Bhashya, authored by Vatsyayana, and Nyaya Vartika by Ujjokara, Nyaya Vartika Tatparya Tika by Vachaspati Mishra, Nyaya Vartika Tatparya Parishuddhi by Udayana, King Udayana, and so on. Vardhamana, Padmanabh Mishra, Srikantha, Jayanta. We have seen some of them wrote on Vaisheshika Sutras also, various commentaries in the centuries and millennia behind us. Now, the important point is that the spiritual experience or the Adhyatma Vidya, which is explained in the Upanishads, is not given with logic. It is given as an insight or intuition. You directly get that insight or intuition. So they have explained that as a declaration in the Upanishads, the spirituality of Advaita, for example, the spirituality is directly there. Whereas this subject, Nyaya Darshana, deals with the logic, proof, analysis, debate, and arriving at a conclusion. So two different things, apples and oranges. So now, therefore, in the initial centuries, the Nyaya Darshana, Nyaya Shastra was not accepted, was not given as much importance as the Veda or Upanishads directly, because it is dealing only with cross arguments and logic and so on. So the initial centuries, it was given lower level. It was not Tarkavidya, logic. It carried on debates diverse from all faiths in the Vedas and was on that account turned into a lower level status. Gradually, however, the system of philosophy got accepted, and over centuries, as by the time of Adi Shankaracharya, the system of philosophy was taken as a basis for proof of the same spiritual truths, Advaita, etc., which are declared in the Upanishads. Because even this subject declared its allegiance or faithfulness to the Vedas themselves. Initially, it was not reconciled with the Vedas. So gradually, Nyaya reconciled with us all the principles in the Vedas, Veda in the sense the Upanishads. So the principles of Nyaya were assimilated in other systems of philosophy such as Vaiseshika. As I told you, Vaiseshika is the physics, the application of Nyaya to the physical phenomena. And even in yoga, it was referred as the Pramanas of Nyaya Darshana mentioned in the Yoga Sutras also. And of course, in Mimamsa, all the Pramanas of Nyaya are mentioned, and again, more new Pramanas are added in Mimamsa. Therefore, and henceforth, Nyaya became an approved branch of learning. And in the various institutions, Vedic schools, Nyaya Shastra became an integral part of study. So Manu clarifies, saying that dharma or duty is to be ascertained by logical reasoning, not opposed to the injunctions of Vedas. So that way, what is dharma? It has to be established on the grounds of logic and proof, while not being opposed to the declarations of the Vedas. This is where the main deviation comes compared to other Abrahamic religions. There they don't support any reasoning or proof, which is scientific approach, but they will simply give certain declarations which have to be accepted. That's not the case in Hinduism or Sanatana Dharma. So initially, Vyasa admits that he was able to arrange and classify the Upanishads with the help of Anvikshaki logic. In the Padma Purana, logic is included among the 14 principal branches of learning promulgated by Lord Vishnu. Of course, now we have 18 branches of learning, Ashtadasha Vidyas. So ultimately, the Nyaya or logic was deservedly held at very high esteem. And the principles of Nyaya entered into different systems of philosophy and cogency, just like inductive method shaped the sciences and philosophies of a later age. It is, however, to be noted that it has been mixed up with law, smriti. Nyayasthanam means court of law. It has been mixed up with rhetoric, alankara, Vedanta, and finally, Adi Shankaracharya could establish Advaita as the supreme philosophical Siddhanta with the help of Nyaya. He could prove all others were less true or inferior to Advaita. So the first sutra of the first chapter of the Nyaya Sutra says, Pramana Prameya Samshaya Prayojana Drishtanta Siddhanta Avayava Tarka Nirnaya Vada Jalpa Vitanda Hetva Bhasa Chala Jati Nikrahasthananam Tattvajnanan Nishrayas. So as I told you, all darshnas are aiming at moksha. Nyaya Darshana is defining moksha, Shreyasa Adhigamaha. And I can reach or achieve moksha with the help of the Tattvajnana, the deep understanding of Pramanas, that is proofs, Prameya, the object of proof, Samshaya, doubt, Prayojana, purpose, Drishtanta, example, Siddhanta, dogma, Avayava, body part, Tarka, debate, Nirnaya, decision making, Vada, argument, Jalpa is a kind of extreme argument, Vitanda is another kind of adamant argument, Hetva Bhasa, Chala, Jati Nikrahasthana. So, by the understanding of all this, you can achieve moksha. How? Because you can apply these techniques onto any statement or dogma or siddhanta given in the scriptures. That has been done in India, in Hinduism, in Sanatana. It has not been done in other religions. Of course, Buddhists also have done it, but they were defeated by Shankaracharya. And what is moksha? Dukkha, janma, pravritti, dosha, mithya jnananam, uttarottarapaye, tadanantarapaya, apavargaha. Moksha can be achieved by overcoming the pains of pain, birth, activity, faults, misapprehension, on the successive annihilation of these in the reverse order. So that means Mithya Jnana, if you get liberated from Mithya Jnana, then dosha, then pravritti, then janma, then dukkha. So first, what are pramanas? Pratyaksha, Anumana, Upamana, Shabda, Pramana. Pratyaksha, Anumana, Upamana, Shabda. Pratyaksha is direct sensory observation. Anumana is inference. Upamana is example. Shabda is referential knowledge. So let me elaborate a little bit on all these four. We know that you can acquire knowledge by direct observation, by seeing or by hearing or by touching the Panchendriyas. And that is not the only way you can see. Seeing is believing, you can think, but you can be shown fraud. You can be shown what is not true. A lot of people whom you meet, as you know, they speak exactly opposite of what is the truth. They speak exactly opposite of what they want to say, what they are thinking in their mind. So it is not enough if you have pratyaksha pramana. You need to have logical reasoning and inference coming out of the observations made in pratyaksha pramana. For example, moon. You see the moon or the pratyaksha, prati aksha. Aksha means eye, prati means in front. It will be only of proper size. Is that true? So science is an inferential process. So we know that is not true. Similarly, many things are there, like water in the mirage. It looks to be water, but there is no water. like all the objects or the environment or cities in your dreams. They look to be real, but they are not real. Of course, dream is not as part of Pratyaksha Pramana. So Anumana is very essential. You have to, because entire knowledge of entire science is based on Anumana, inference. You are drawing inference based on certain analysis. So Pratyaksha, Anumana, then Upamana. Quite often we use the example as a means to explain or define something which we are not able to see directly, or we are not able to even analyze. Even if you analyze, supposing say electron. Now what Rutherford did when the structure of atom was proposed, planetary model, he says, similar to the planets moving around the sun, the electrons move around the nucleus. So that is Upamana. So Upamana example comparison is an essential instrument in the hands of an analyst. And finally, we have the Shabda. If there are subjects which cannot be reached, cannot be understood, cannot be grasped by any one of these mechanisms, Pratyaksha, Anumana, Upamana, all the three, like what will happen after death, whether soul exists, whether God exists. These kind of questions you can neither see directly, nor you can infer with certain proof, with certain analysis, like in science. That's why science is silent on the existence of God or the existence of soul, Atma, or transmigration after death and so on. So, in all these kind of topics, Pratyaksha, Anumana, when they fail, yato vacho nivartante aprapya manasa saha. So that transcendental subjects like self, God, which have to be relied upon referential knowledge or Shabda Praman. You just heard or you saw it, you just referred. Like in fact, the Shabda Pramana is used in a very normal way. Like if you have, say, stomachache, then you go to a doctor. Then doctor will tell you have so and so disease or so and so malady. What will you do? Will you ask doctor, show me Pratyaksha, give me analysis? Will you ask? No. What you will do? You will simply say, okay, sir, thank you. So you are blindly accepting Shabda Pramana. So referential knowledge. So he has defined all these pramanas in the subsequent sutras. Indriyartha sannikarshottpanna jnanam avyapadeshyam avyabhichari vyavasayatmikam pratyaksham. Very formally he defined perception is knowledge which arises from contact of a sense with its object and which is determinate, unnameable and non-erratic. Then what about Anumana, Upamana? He will define each one of them, and in Pratyaksha how many types are there, and so on. It goes into deeper and deeper. And Upamana is Prasiddha Sadharmisa Sadhya Sadhanam Upamanam. So between the two things involved in comparison, one of them may be unknown, another will be famous. So that is how the comparison will be made. It is like if you want to impress a girl, you tell her that her face is like moon. Moon is very famous. Her face is not famous, but if you say it is similar to moon, then she will be very happy because moon is famous. Then finally, Aptopadesha Shabdaha. And what is Shabda Pramana? Aptopadesha. It's also known as Aptavakya. That means the referential knowledge which you are getting is from a source which is believable, and because it is Apta, it is your well-wisher. And again, the categories of that Swadvividho Drishta Adrishta Adhatvat Atma Sarirendriyartha Buddhimana Pravritti Dosha Precha Bhava Phala Dukkha Apavargastu Prameyam. So having discussed Pramanas, the Prameyam, the objects which we have seen in the Vaiseshika, Prithvi, Apastejo, Vayu, Rakasha, Dik, Kala, Mana, Atma. So here he is telling same thing. Atma, Sharira, Indriyardha, Buddhi, Mana, Pravritti, Dosha Prat, Do Precha Bhava, Phala Dukha Pavargastu, Prameyam. Ichhadvesha Prayatna Sukha Dukha Jnanani, Atmano Lingam. So he'll give proof of each one of them. This part is common with Vaisheshika. Prithivyapasthejo Vayurakashamiti Bhutani. Gandharasa Sparsha Shabda Prithivyadi Guna Tadardha. Buddhi Upalabdhi Jnana Itya Ardhantaram. Intellect, apprehension and knowledge, these are not different from one another. All are same. Yuga Pajnana Puttihi Manasolingam. The mark of mind is that there do not arise more acts of knowledge than one at a time. You can know one at a time. That is a proof of the existence of mind. So he goes on defining what is doubt, what is jalpa, what is vada, what is siddhanta, all the nyaya padarthas. Then what are the organs, avayavas of a logical argument? That also he has defined. Pratijna, hetu, udaharana, appanaya, nigama. That is proposition, reason, example, application, conclusion. So these are the organs of an argument, of the entire Vada. Vada is again defined separately, but the members of a syllogism. This entire thing is called syllogism. The entire process of determination of the truth, starting from a proposition. You make a proposition, you give reasons why you are making proposition. For example, if you say Kejriwal is a cheat, that's a proposition. All his critics make that proposition. All his supporters will make a different proposition. Kejriwal is honest. Whereas those who make that proposition will give reasons. And examples also they will give, what all he has done. Then application. If you say this hill is fairy because it is smoky, there is fire on the hill, you are saying. There is no fire which you can see. Pratyaksha is not showing the fire, flames, but it is having smoke. The reason is it is having smoke. And what is the example? Everything, whatever is smoky is fairy. It has fire in it. That is, for example, in kitchen. Therefore, so is this hill. Therefore, the application of that example, the principle in the example. Then finally, the conclusion. Therefore, this hill is fairy. That means having fire. Sadhanirdesha pratijna, a proposition is the declaration of what is to be established. What is that you are trying to arrive at? That's a proposition. Udaharana sadhya sadhanam hetuhu. The reason is the means for establishing what is to be established through a homogeneous or affirmative character of the example. There should be a character that all fire results in smoke. What is udaharanam? Sadhya sadharmyat. Dharma bhavi drishtanta udaharanam. There is some dharma which is common between the two when you compare. Tad viparidya viparitam, or it could be opposite. You can compare by opposite definition also. So this process of now finally application is defined as udaharana apekshastat upasamharo na tathediva sadhyasya upanayah. Application is winding up with reference to example of what is to be established as being so. Finally, nigamanam, conclusion. Hetu apadeshat pratijnaya punarvachanam nigamanam. Conclusion is restating of original proposition after the reason has been mentioned. That is a kind of a proof. So I'm just giving you a few insights into the Nyaya Darshana. I'm not going to cover, it's a very thick book, Nyaya Darshana, in the Nyaya Sutras of Gautama. There are many other detailed topics dwelled in the same. Now you could have understood by now that the foundation of all analytical approaches in Hinduism or Sanatana is Nyaya. You don't accept anything, you have to prove it. So this proof is the common factor between science and Sanatana. That is not there in other religions. They simply ask you to believe. They don't bother much because common people don't bother. They don't have brains to analyze all this, not time. Only scholars used to do this, and scholars will debate among themselves, and they will arrive at, just like kings will fight wars and win, scholars will have debates, arguments, and win. This is very common. Now, the Navya Nyaya, which came there in about few centuries ago, it deals with subjects like delimiter, avachedakatva, sambandha, relations. What kind of relations can be there? Pratiyogita, opposing relation. Vishayata, objectivity. Prakarata, qualities, nature. So these concepts are so formal that they have finally developed a Navanya language where you can express very formally, very rigorously any statement, more than what you can do in a normal language, Sanskrit or English or Hindi or Telugu. So this Navya has been used in as a formal logical expression language for any statement. And it is still, the beauty here is that these two subjects are continuing with unbroken lineage for centuries and millennia in certain parts of the country, particularly in Bengal. Of course, as I told you, in the case of Vaiseshika, it was part of the Nyaya Vaiseshika dual system. It was there in all the Gurukulas. Every Gurukula was studying all this. So in our culture, the logic science proof is not different from a blind religious dogma. So Adi Shankaracharya used the Nyaya Darshana in an extensive manner to finally establish the proof of the existence of Brahman, which is one without a second, Advaita. And that's why he could defeat all other scholars. Now I will stop Nyaya Darshana here. I'll switch over to Yoga Darshana after a small break now. If you have any questions, you can ask me.
ఓకే అండి, ధన్యవాదములు. Now anybody wants to ask any question? We're all unmuted.
Prabhu garu, sir. ఈ న్యాయ దర్శనం అనేది, it gives us a framework, basically a framework to understand any concept. Is that true?
It's a framework of procedures.
Yeah.
Understand correct knowledge with proof on any topic.
Yeah. And for all the concepts that we have mentioned, in the Vedas or wherever it is in the Sanatana Dharma, this logic can be applied. I mean, tells us how to use this logic.
Yeah, it is a science of logic. So it doesn't talk about the subjects on which this mechanism or procedure can be applied. You can apply on anything. You can apply on my lecture also. You can apply on Advaita Vedanta. You can apply on Buddhist philosophy, or you can apply on, say, a crime analysis. In the courts of law, they do apply. So that is why they are called Nyayasthanas. So any topic, when you apply these procedures of proof, then you'll arrive at the conclusions which are more valid than what they would be without applying this. Without applying these techniques, people were just going by their own instincts or their common sense or by intuition. But by applying these techniques, which are formally accepted in the courts of law, and they are being applied. Evidence Act. What is Indian Evidence Act? It's nothing but this. Of course, modern versions are there in the law. So before the present law came, there was Hindu law, and that was there almost throughout the history up to the British period. British period, they introduced the Indian law, which is a mixture of English law and Hindu law. So it is a Pramana Shastra. You can apply for anything. You are right.
Thank you.
The beauty is that you will be free from the burden of blind belief. Just imagine how much relief, even to think about it, you get mentally. Because you don't have to believe anything. You don't have to accept anything. That's not the case in other religions. They will tell this is what it is, and you believe it. And if you don't believe it, you are not taken as part of that subject. And if you question, for example, any statement, it will be taken as a revolt or a heresy. Particularly in one particular religion, it will amount to reactions like like punishments, which can include death. So if you make any statement on the basic scripture or the basic personality, the central personality or the central concept of a particular religion, which you know what it is, it will be retaliated with punishment, including death. That is how it is. Of course, in another religion, which I don't want to mention, there is no such punishment, but the whole religion was floated on a lie, a falsehood, and it still continues. So there are a lot of people now, 50% of the people who followed that particular religion, the world, have now come out of it. They have declared themselves as atheists. So I have given you examples. What will happen if we don't apply? That is why this is a scientific method in a way. So this is scientific method has hypothesis, it has got observation, it has got proof. So the Nyaya Darshana process is a sort of a scientific method. In Ayurveda also it has been applied. In fact, in the first chapter of Ayurveda, Charaka Samhita, he says there is a hypothesis, uha, and then an apoha, that the antithesis, and there is evidence and all that. So applying these to philosophical and religious dogmas or siddhantas has been done in India over the centuries and millennia. It has not been done in other countries, in other regions. Yeah. There was another question on Vedanta, right? What is that question?
What is the speciality of Vedanta How does it differ from other darshanas?
Yeah, I've already covered Vedanta Darshana. Vedanta Darshana aims at understanding the nature of universe, its creation, its creator, if any creator exists, and Brahman, basically. Word Brahman means the big, Brahatva Brahman, the big picture, the whole thing. So that is Vedanta Darshan. As I told you, all the 6 darshanas have different natures. The Nyaya Darshana is logic itself, and where Yoga Darshana is psychology, it's the mind itself is being blessed. And then we have the Sankhya Darshana, which gives the basic man and nature model, Purusha Prakriti model. And Mimamsa Darshana is having a nature of analyzing the Vedic rituals and finding out some kind of benefits or some kind of advantages of that, or some kind of proof in their own way. He has got pramanas there also. So each darshana is entirely different, nothing to do with each other, but there are certain common linkages. They do refer to each other in a very limited linkage manner. Each one is a separate subject. And Vedanta is the last one, which is dealing with the fundamental questions on what is universe, what is creation, what is creation process, what is creating principle or creator, and what is ultimate truth. By applying the Nyaya Darshana, Adi Shankaracharya has established the proof for his Advaita Siddhanta. The only system in the world, entire world, the only philosophical system where propositional logic, the Nyaya Darshana, has been applied extensively in his commentaries on Brahma Sutras and Bhagavad Gita and the Upanishads, particularly Brahma Sutras. So that is the difference between all these darshans. Okay, what is the next question? Somebody raised a hand. Somebody raised a hand.
Anybody raise the hand? No, I can't see anybody raising the hand. I think you can proceed.
Okay, next. Any other question? Any other point?
Any other question, please?
Okay, since there are no more questions, I'll go to Yoga Darshana. Of course, we'll be covering in depth Yoga Darshana in our 1-month yoga course, the practical aspects. Right now, it is too hot. That's why we have put in the better weather conditions, the practical aspects, but the theoretical aspects we can cover now in the next half an hour. So I'm following this book, Patanjali Yoga Darshana, Patanjali Yoga Pradeep. So this book is famous. It is in Hindi. It is by Gita Press. Go to Gita Press Publications and buy this book. It's worth buying. It is very cheap. Patanjali Yoga Pradeepa by one Omananda, who wrote the all yogis are given here. Even color pictures are there. Very wonderful pictures. If you take this picture, for example, in this picture you can see the Paramatma here. I don't know, I think you cannot see clearly, you cannot read it, so I will explain to you. Basically, the Shuddha Chaitanya Tattva, Parabrahma or Shuddha Brahman, Shuddha Brahman is the, then we have Apara Brahma, Ishvara, then Vishuddha Sattvamaya Chitta, Ahankara, Tanmatra, Sukshma Bhuta in a tree form, and the sunlight as Shuddha Chaitanya. The Ashtanga Yoga has been described in detail. So the purpose of all darshanas, as we have seen, is to achieve freedom, dukkha nivritti, and moksha, the highest good. So in the Mimamsa Darshana, they have explained Nitya Karma, Naimittik Karma, Kamya Karma, Nishiddha Karma, based on the Vedas. And in the Uttara Mimamsa, which is Vedanta Darshana, there is a detailed Siddhanta exposition, the Advaita, Advaita, Visishta Advaita, Suddha Advaita, Advaita, Advaita. And he is also telling that these Siddhantas are not exactly opposite to each other. Though their names may be like that, the name between Advaita and Dvaita looks as if they are opposite to each other. It is not so. If you understand, you will realize that they are not exactly opposite to each other. And even in the Vedanta Darshana, in the Brahma Sutras also, yoga is mentioned. Asina Sambhava, Upasana, yoga, dhyana process. The interesting thing about yoga darshana is that everybody accepts. The Advaitins accept, Dvaitis accept, Ishtadvaitas accept, Vedantins accept, Mimamsakas accept, because everywhere there will be asana, there will be pranayama, and there will be dhyana, and there will be some. Everywhere. Even if you do a simple puja, or even if you do some pratam or yagam, yajnam, you will have to follow the yoga darshana in terms of the asana, pranayama, dhyana. So, so even Ramanujacharya, the Visishtadvaita, has supported the yoga darshana as a process, as a procedure. So, as you know, already told many times, yoga chittavritti nirodha. Yoga is defined as arresting of the chittavrittis, stopping the mental modifications, which will result in the establishment in own self, the drashtu swarupi avasthanam. So the samanvaya between various darshanas can be seen. This drashta swarupa, the true nature of the self, is nothing but Purusha, is nothing but Brahman, is nothing but Atma, all mean the same. एक एव तु भूतात्मा भूते भूते व्यवस्थितः एकधा बहुधा चैव दृश्यन्ते जलचन्द्रवत् यथा ह्यायं ज्योतिरात्मा विवस्वान् आपो भिन्ना भवति ఒక సూర్యుడు సమస్త జీవులకు తాను ఒక్కొక్కడైతో పోలిక. Just as even though there is only one sun which is appearing in many forms in different reflections and different objects, so the same self is reflecting in different conditionings, different samskaras, different contaminations, in different upadhis. So the avyaya purusha sakshi kshetrajna akshare vacha. So the same self is known as Purusha, same self is known as Brahman, same self is known as Atma, Paramatma, and so on. That is the samanvaya between 6 different darshanas. This is the basic introduction. Now we will go into the actual sutras. So the Yoga Darshana of Patanjali, Yoga Sutras of Patanjali. Patanjali, there are two Patanjalis possibly. One Patanjali wrote the Yoga Sutras, the other Patanjali wrote the Mahabhashya to Panini's Ashtadhyayi, who is a later person, obviously. So the earlier Patanjali is next to Sankhya in the sequence. That's why Yoga Darshana is next to Sankhya Darshana in the sequence. Sankhya, Yoga, Nyaya, Vaiseshika. So in the sequence, that is how it goes. We have Nyaya, which is the logical or analytical approach of proof applied to physical world, is Vaiseshika. And the practical realization of Sankhya is Yoga. Atha Yoga Anushasanam. Now we shall delve into Yoga. So please read this book. If you know Hindi, if you don't know Hindi, you cannot understand Hindi. Yogas Chittavritti Nirodhaha Tada Drashtu Swarupe Avasthanam Vritti Sarupya Mitaratra. When the Chittavrittis are not arrested, the self or the drashta or consciousness is conditioned by those Chittavrittis so as to be identifying with those Chittavrittis. Like the Chittavritti will say, supposing a particular shape or a particular color, you will be identifying yourself with it. So the mind is the one which takes the various forms which you see. And Vritti Sarupya Mitaratra, Vrittaya Panchataya Klishta Klishta. How many types of Vrittis are there? 5 are there. Pramana Viparya Vikalpa Nidra Smriti. Pramana we have already seen. Pratyaksha Anumana Agama Pramanani. Viparyayo Mithya Jnana Vatadrupa Pratishtham. Shabda Jnana Anupati Vastu Sunyo Vikalpaha. So different types of like hallucination. That is Mithya Jnanam, Atadrupa Pratishtham. And Vikalpa is just Shabda Jnana Anupati Vastu Sunyo Vikalpa. Indication or indirect perception. Pratyaksha Anumana Agama are the Shabda Pramana are the 3 Pramanas. Pramana Viparyaya Vikalpa Nidra. Nidra is also taken as a Chittavritti in Yoga Darshana. In the Vedanta Darshana, it is taken as an Avastha. Jagat, Swapna, Sushupti. In the Mandukya Upanishad, Nidra is shown as Prajnavastha, not Swapna. Swapna is not recognized at all. It is just a memory or imagination. So, Pramana Viparya Vikalpa Nidra Smrutaya Pratyaksha Anumana Agama Pramanani Shabda Jnanani Vasi Vastu Sunyo Vikalpaha Viparyo Mithya Jnana Matadruva Pratishtham Abhavasam. The Nidra is declared as Bhava Pratyayalambana. Nothing that itself is Chittavritti. Also there, memory, which is repeating the previously experienced experiences. So now, how do we arrest the Chittavrittis? Abhyas Vairagya Abhyam Tannirodha. That is the sutra number 12. The technique of arresting Chittavrittis is composed of 2 fundamental aspects. One is Abhyasa, practice. Practice makes perfect. And second is Vairagya. Vairagya is Drishta Vishaya Vitrishna Vashikara Sanya Vairagyam. That is not having any interest, desires, or attachments, or inquisitiveness, or I'll go more formally. Drishta Anusravika Vishaya Vitrishnasya Vashikara Sunya Vairagyam. What is Vairagyam? Is a Vashikara, that is total conquest of what? Craze, craving. Drishta Anusravika Vishaya Vitrishnasya. Vitrishna, Visesha Trishna, extreme thirst, craving for objects which are heard, unheard, seen and unseen. Drishta, Adrishta, Drishta, Anusravika, heard. You heard that there is something like a space, you never saw it, you never experienced it, but you have a desire to acquire it, you have a thirst, craving. And those which you have already seen, you have desire to acquire it. Drishta, Anusravika, Vishaya, objects, Vitrishnasya, extreme thirst or craving. To conquer all that is called Vairagya. Tat Param Purushakhyate Gunavaitrishyam. So the result of the Vairagya is Supreme being, Parama Purusha being acquired. So as far as the Abhyasa is concerned, Tatra Sthito Yatno Abhyasa. You know what is practice. Established effort. Tatra Sthito Yatnaha Abhyasaha. Satu Dirghakala Nairantarya Satkara Sevito Drudha Bhumi. Even that when it is practiced for a long time, Dirghakala, Nairantarya, regularly, not giving up, suddenly you do it and again give up, that is not going to help. Nairantarya Satkara Sevito Drudha Bhumi. It will give strong foundation when you perform regularly for long. So this through Abhyasa and Vairagya, it is possible to stop the Chitta Vrittis, and once that happens, Vitarka Vichara Ananda Asmita Anurupanugamat Samprajnata Samadhi is described, that which is through analysis, Vitarka, that is through applying the Nyaya techniques, or Vichara, internal analysis, Ananda Asmita Anurupa Anugamat Samprajnata Samadhi is defined. The first chapter is called Samadhi Pada, and he has defined various types of Samadhi. Virama Prachaya Abhyasa Purvaha Samskara Sesho Anyaha. It's not possible to understand the nature of Samadhi, different types of classification of Samadhi, unless and until you experience. Bhava Prachayo Videha Prakritrayanam. So, some people get it directly from birth itself. They are called Videhas and Prakritrayas. You all know one of the names of Sita is Vaidehi. Why it is given that name? Because she is the daughter of Videha. Who is Videha? Janaka. Because he is a great realized soul, as we can see in the Ashtavakra Samhita, he got realization. You can see my video on Ashtavakra Samhita. So that person is known as Videha, or bodiless. He has no body. It means he is already liberated. He is a Jivan Mukta. And Prakritirayas, there are two types of people, Videhas and Prakritirayas, who are already liberated, who are in the merger of nature. Prakritirayas, they are merged in nature. Shraddha, Virya, Smriti, Samadhi, Prajna, Purvak, Itaresha. And those who are not Videhas and Prakritirayas, they get Shraddha, Virya, Smriti, Samadhi, and Prajna, Purvaka, Asam Prajnat Samadhi. Tivra Samneganam Asannaham. Of course, who will get it? Those who are rapidly progressing, not ordinary fellows. Ordinary people also exist. Mrudu Madhyadi Matratvat Tatopi Viseshataha. Medium, slow, such people also get Samadhi through practice, Abhyasa Vairagya. And another method is Ishvara Pranidhanatva, Ishvara Pranidhana. Surrender to his prapatti, surrender to Ishvara, which is given as prapatti in Bhakti Yoga. So you can get Samadhi even through that. Why? Because once you surrender, there is no ego. And there is no ego, there are no desires, there is no distraction. Klesha karma vipaka shvira paramishta purusha visesha Ishvara. Who is Ishvara? He is defined as a personality, not a human, but a personality who is free from klesha, karma, vipakasha. He is independent of the miseries and karma also, karma phalas. So he is a special personality. So such a personality is indicated tatra niratishayam sarvajna bijam. He has got the characteristic of sarvajnatva. He knows all as a bija, as a original seed. And sapurveshamapi guru kalena navachedat. He is the guru of all the ancestors, the purvesham, purvarishis, because he is unaffected by time. Yo brahmanam vidadhati purvam yo vai vedanscha prahinihoti tasmai tam ha devatma buddhis prakasham mumukshurvai sharanamaham prapadye. So that Ishvara which is right from the beginning of the creation. Brahma made the creation and he created them. So we are talking of that Ishvara. Om iti Brahma, Om iti idagam sarvam, Om ityed anukritam. So we have seen in the Taittiriya Upanishad, Om ityed aksharamidam sarvam, Mandukya Upanishad, and same thing is told here, Tasya vachaka pranavaha. The nature of the indication of that Ishvara is Om. So ayam atma adhyaksharam omkaro adhimatram pada matra matrascha pada akara ukara makara. Avuma combined is Om, and all together whatever happens is the fourth Turiya. And the nature of the self, nature of Brahman, nature of Ishvara is nothing but Om. Now Ishvara is shown as an external entity. I am there, Ishvara is there. Jiva and Ishvara. That is Dvaita. Yoga is basically Dvaita system. Though finally talks of Advaita because you merge. Mangalyam Pavanam Dharmyam Sarvakam Prasadanam. Omkaraha Paramam Brahma Sarvamantreshu Nayakam. So there is nothing compared. Giramasmeya Ekam Aksharam. Even in the Bhagavad Gita he said, Omkara, I am Omkara. Japas Tadartha Bhavan. So you have to repeat Om many times and meditate on its meaning. Then what will happen? Tata pratyak chetanadhigamopya antaraya bhavascha. You will be able to overcome the obstruction or opposing forces. What are those opposing forces? Vyadhi, first disease. If you simply practice long Om, your diseases can be overcome. Dhyana, samshaya, that is laziness, doubt. Alasya, laziness, avirati, dissatisfaction. Psychological weaknesses or maladies. Ranti, darshnarabdha, bhumikatvan, antaraya. All these antarayas can be overcome. Chitta vikshepas, te antaraya. And distraction of the mind. Their associated symptoms are dukkha, daurmanasya, angamejesva, shvasa prashvas, vikshepaha, sabhuvaha. Dukkha, sorrow, daurmanasya, mental debility, weakness of mind, angamejayasva, shaking in the body organs, shvasa prashvasa vikshepa, the breathing process getting erratic. Pratishedhardham ekatatvabhyasaha. That is the 32nd sutra. So to overcome all these things, practice one-pointedness. Ekatattva. Now another important behavioral principle is Maitri Karuna Muditopekshanam Sakadukha Punya Punya Vishayanam Bhavanatas Chitta Prasad. How do you get peace of mind? By what measures, what procedures he is giving here? Maitri Karuna Muditopekshanam Sakadukha Punya Punya Vishayanam. For Sukha, you show Maitri. Respectively, it is to be taken in the same sequence. For Dukkha, you show Karuna. If somebody is in trouble, is in Dukkha, You don't go and make fun of him, or you don't cut jokes. You show your compassion, karuna. If somebody is in happiness, you show the friendship. As you know, in your happiness, like birthday function or childbirth or anything, you call all your relatives, all your friends. That is Maitri. Maitri, Karuna, Mudita, Upeksham. That is Sukha, Dukkha, Punya. If somebody is doing Punya Karma, somebody is going to Kasi and staying there or coming back or giving charity, all good things. You show your pleasant expression, Mudita. Oh, very good, you are doing very good. But if somebody is doing something wrong, you don't go and finger him, but you ignore him. Because somebody else will take care. Police, law, all those people are there. It's not your call to go and correct somebody doing wrong. Punya, apunya. Maitri, Karuna, Mudita, Upeksha. Upeksha. Upeksha is just ignore. Because it is not your call. If somebody is doing something wrong, if you go and try to control him or change him, it's not going to work. You will also become party to it. Maitri, Karuna, Muditopekshanam, Sukha Dukkha Punya Punya Vishayanam, Bhavanatas Chitta Prasadanam. By such methods, you will get Chitta Prasadanam. That is peace of mind, happiness. And you can achieve Samadhi through pranayama also. Prachardhana Vidharana Bhyam Va Pranasya. I have gone through the pranayama method from my guru, Swami Shilanand Bharti, who is third in lineage of the Bade Dhuniwala Samstha of Khandwa in Madhya Pradesh. So please read this book. It's a wonderful encyclopedia of Yoga Darshana. Of course, it is in Hindi. Vitaraga Visham Va Chittam Vishoka Va Jyotishmati. What are the other methods of objects of meditation? Jyoti. Jyotisham Avita Jyotis Tamasa Paramuchyate. Jnanam Jnayam Jnanagamyam. Hrudi Sarvasya Vishchitam. The Jyoti light. Even in other religions, that Noor, they say Noor, light. And God is light. Even they also say that. That Jyoti light, Antar Jyoti, Bahid Jyoti, Pratyak Jyoti, Paratpara, Jyoti, Jyoti, Swayam Jyoti, Atma Jyoti, Shivosmiham, Atma Jyoti, Mano Jyoti, Jyoti, Chakshushya Pashyati, Sabahya Abhyantara Jyoti, Sa Jyoti, Shivamuchyate, Vishokava Jyotishmati, Swapna Nidra Jnanalam Va, Vitaraga Visham Va Chittam. Even if you meditate upon a personality who is free from ragadveshas, vitaraga vishayam, and vishay, objective enjoyments, like a personal, like what do we meditate? We meditate on Adi Shiva. Shiva is in a meditative state. He has liberated, he is free from all attachments. He has no desires. Buddhists meditate on Buddha, Jains meditate on their Tirthankaras. They are all in Samadhi state. Nothing, they don't need anything. And you can also perform meditation on Swapna Nidra Jnana Lambanam Va. That is where certain, in some people cases, they get dreams where they get Devata Darshanam or Siddha Darshanam. And finally, he has given the openness, Yatha Abhimata Dhyana Dva. You can meditate on anything which you like. You need not limit to those above topics. If you want to meditate on anything, say you want to meditate on an atom, you can do it. Or you can meditate on sun, you can do it. Gayatri Mantra is on sun. Or you want to meditate upon a particular murti of Lord Vishnu, you can do it. So whatever, Yadha Abhimata Dhyana Dva. So this kind of broad Catholic openness has been shown, in which you can include all religions of all other denominations. Even non-Hindu religions can be accommodated with this statement, Yatha Abhimata Dhyana Dva. Paramanu Paramahatvantosya Vashikaraha. If you achieve that success in that meditation or samadhi, then you will have conquest control over everything, from the Paramanu to the Paramahat. Everything, because everything is objective of mind, object of mind. क्षीणवृत्तेरभिजातस्य मणे गृहीतग्रहणग्राह्येषु तत्सदं जनता समापत्तिः तत्र शब्दार्थज्ञानविकल्पैः संकीर्णा सवितर्का समापत्तिः सवितर्क समाधि सविचार समाधि निर्विचार समाधि निर्वितर्क समाधि स्मृति परिशुद्धौ स्वरूप शून्ये वा अर्थमास निर्भाता निर्वितर्का एत एव सविचारा निर्विचार च सूक्ष्म विषया व्याख्याता निर्विचार वैशाद्य अध्यात्म प्रसादः. So there are two types of samadhis. Finally, sabija and nirvija. Sa eva sabija samadhi. Nirvichar vaisharadya adhyatma prasadaha. So in the samadhi without vicharas, you will have spiritual enlightenment. Ritam bhara tatra prajna. The prajna in that is full of ritam. Ritam bhara tatra, highest transcendental intuitive experience of supreme knowledge. Agamena, Anumanena, Jnanabhyasanena cha, Tridha prakalpayat prajnam labhate yogamuttamam. So when the bija is going to stop, Tajya samskaro anya samskara nibandhini, Tasyapi nirodhe sarva nirodha nirbija samadhi. Even that bija, the samskara bija which is still sustaining, surviving in the chitta, when that is also overcome, tasyapi nirodhe sarva nirodha nirbija samadhi. That is the nirbija samadhi. Before that is nirvikalpa samadhi. Before that it is nirvitarka, nirvichara. Savichara samadhi is what we normally experience in deep scientific research. The fellow is totally absorbed. The word samadhi refers to, in the Ashtanga Yoga, which he done next, sadhana pada, it refers to Swarupa Shunyamiva Samadhi. In the dhyana, deep meditation, when you are lost yourself completely into that, then it is called Samadhi. That can be with analysis, then it is called Savitarka. Without analysis, total absorption, that is Nirvitarka. Savichara, with thoughts process being there. Nirvichara, no thought process being there. And Savikalpa, with certain changes. Nirvikalpa, without changes. Sabija, finally without changes, but there is only a root seed, which is acting as the last residue. Tasyapi nirodhe sarva nirodha nirbija samadhi. So I have covered the samadhi pada of Patanjali Sutras. There are many other padas, sadhana pada and so on, which we may cover later in the 1 month course on yoga. Om Tat Sat. I have finished my lecture for today.
Okay, ధన్యవాదములండి. Now we have another 5 minutes. If somebody wants to interact with Guruji, you are all welcome. Any questions? Okay.
Okay, we can close.
Yeah. We will go for Prarthana. Ramesh Garu.
Okay. स्वस्ति प्रजाभ्यः परिपालयन्ताम् न्यायेन मार्गेण महिषाः वो ब्राह्मणेभ्यः शुभमस्तु नित्यम् लोकाः समस्ताः सुखिनो भवन्तु काले वर्षतु पर्जन्यः पृथिवी सस्यशालिनी देशोऽयं क्षोभरहितो ब्राह्मणाः सन्तु निर्भयाः अपुत्राः पुत्रिणः सन्तु पौत्रिणः अधनाः सधनाः सन्तु जीवन्तु शरदां शतम् सत्यं वद धर्मं चर स्वाध्यायान्मा प्रमदः सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत् ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः सर्वे जना सुखिनो भवन्तु स्वस्ति
ధన్యవాదములండి రమేష్ గారు. థ్యాంక్ యూ సో మచ్. నౌ విల్ గో ఫర్ నేషనల్ యాంథమ్. చల్లా చిట్టిబాబు గారు.
जनगण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंधु गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्छल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तब जय गाथा जनगण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे जय हिंद.
ధన్యవాదములండి చల్లా చిట్టిబాబు గారు.